America runs on trucks. From the food on your plate to the clothes on your back, the trucking industry is the backbone of our economy. Yet despite their vital role, truck drivers face a crisis that has been ignored for far too long: parking. In today's video, we're diving deep into the truck parking issue that's plaguing the U.S. at truck stops nationwide. And by the end of the video, you'll see why the issue impacts not just truckers, but every single one of us. Picture this. You've been driving for 11 hours straight. You're exhausted, hungry, and in desperate need of a safe place to rest. But every truck stop you pass is completely full. This isn't a rare occurrence. It's the daily reality for over 3.5 million truck drivers in the U.S. According to the American Transportation Research Institute, the average truck driver spends nearly an hour each day searching for parking. That's over $5,000 in lost wages per year and thousands of gallons of wasted fuel. And let's not forget, these delays disrupt the supply chain and hurt businesses and consumers alike.
And the option that truck drivers have now is if they can't find a space, they are parking on the side of the road, they're parking on an off-ramp, and tragically, we hear about things what happened in Illinois. And here's another question I think it's important as we have this discussion that you all think about, everybody in the room. How many of us would tolerate a job where access to a restroom or a safe place to park and sleep at night is no guarantee? And that's what's going on right now with truck parking. We need more truck parking across the nation. And as Senator Kelly alluded to in his question, they are forced to change their routes if they can't find parking. Oftentimes they're spending time when they have a certain amount of hours they can drive. And when they know that those hours are about to run out, what they will do before they run out is they will start looking for a place if there's no place for them to park. That affects productivity. That impacts the supply chain over the long run. So there's many safety factors, but the one that is the most noticeable to all of us is when you're driving down the road and you see these trucks parked on the shoulders and the off-ramps. I think it's also noteworthy to highlight with the truck parking issue, this is something that impacts all of us. Law enforcement, for example, is as equally committed to finding more truck parking and equally committed to the Truck Parking Safety Improvement Act, because think of the circumstances that they deal with. They have a truck that's on the off-ramp. They can wake that driver up and move him because it's illegal, or they can let them sleep there and run the risk of an accident. So they are in a no-win situation. So we're very...
Can I ask you, sorry to interrupt, so when somebody winds up being parked on the side of the road, it's because they couldn't find a place, they ran out of time for the clock. So do truck drivers tend not to go over the amount of time because that's against
it's
federal
illegal. Yeah,
against federal law.
Yes.
So they just throw their hands up. I couldn't find any place. I'm going to have to park right here.
So why is there a parking crisis? First, the number of trucks over the road has skyrocketed over the years, while the expansion of truck parking facilities hasn't kept pace. Many truck stops were designed decades ago when freight demand was much lower. And here's another problem: NIMBY, which stands for Not in My Backyard. The lack of parking isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Drivers are often forced to park on highway shoulders, exit ramps, or vacant lots, all of which are unsafe and sometimes illegal. In 2012, Jason's Law was passed after the tragic murder of Jason Rivenberg, who was killed while parked at an abandoned gas station due to lack of safe parking. When drivers can't find parking, it also impacts their sleep schedules. Poor sleep leads to fatigue, which increases the likelihood of accidents. And when truckers park in unsafe areas, their cargo is at a higher risk of theft. These are systematic issues that trickle down to affect delivery times, product availability, and prices for all of us. So what's being done? Some states have started pilot programs to expand truck parking. Florida, for example, has added hundreds of spaces at rest areas, while Pennsylvania is experimenting with truck-only parking zones. But these efforts aren't enough. The federal government needs to invest more into infrastructure, including designated truck parking. And communities need to collaborate with the trucking industry to find middle ground solutions that balance local concerns with truckers' needs.
Fumes fill the air, but this is not a truck stop. It's the Grand Central Service Road spanning several blocks starting at 64th Road. For the last 3 years, Rafi Yusupov and his neighbors say it's what they come home to every night. And it's especially bad on weekends when trucks are left for days.
always noise, always smell, traffic.
There's a one-lane road that's now narrowed ever more. Turning onto the side streets is also very difficult.
Very dangerous, and it's like very scary.
When we first reported on the problem 2 years ago, police ticketed and towed some of the vehicles. Even last week, the NYPD's 112th precinct again tweeted about a heavy-duty tow operation. But residents say it is not a deterrent. Sunday night, we counted more than 20 trucks had returned. We asked people working on the trucks,
how come you're parking here and not at a place where you're supposed to park?
He didn't answer.
One driver told me he's received tickets worth hundreds of dollars, but he keeps coming back because he says he has no other choice.
Another who asked we blur his face said he hauls waste to city landfills, so Long Island is out of the way.
You can drive for 10 hours, right? And after that, you can no longer drive, otherwise you're breaking the rules.
We need more truck parking and more truck stops. As you can see, this is not parking, as you can see right down there and there. We need more truck parking and truck stops than actually truckers. When I first started trucking, it wasn't this bad. You could pretty much make your own trucking parking spot in the middle of the night if there was no truck parking. Now, almost everybody is doing it, and there's hardly, and you most likely get kicked out if you park like that. 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago, when I started trucking, at this exact truck stop in the middle of the night, this did not even exist.
Well, I told you that this truck stop was pretty empty when I was there. When I first got here on Friday, but now that it's Sunday, it kind of filled up. And this is what the guys do. They'll just park right there in the middle, waiting for a spot to open up. Don't care if it's hours or whatever. I guess what else are we supposed to do?
Why do you see trucks parked along highway shoulders, and how do you know that there's a shortage?
Well, you see trucks parked all over the shoulder and all these different places because they have nowhere else to go. Truckers are mandated by hours of service on time they can drive and time they must rest. And the problem is that there's only one spot for 11 trucks right now. This has been a problem my entire career, and it's kind of crisis stage now. Lots of folks out there, I know, they see these big warehouses and gas stations and all these different places where drivers can park, or they think that drivers can park, I guess would be the better statement. Unfortunately, a lot of these places and businesses do not allow this. Some it's who owns the land, it's the real estate company, some it's just policy. I have drivers who go to places, they sit there for 6-8 hours waiting to get unloaded, they run out of hours, and then the place where they deliver kick them off the property, tell them they have to leave. They'll explain, and I've had this happen to myself, I'm out of hours, there's nowhere else I can't drive. Well, we don't know what to tell you because you're not parking here. This has been a while ago, but I was ticketed in the state of Massachusetts at 3 a.m. because I was parked on the car side on a toll plaza. It was 3 a.m., nobody in there. I pulled off there to take a break at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I woke up at 3 a.m. by an enforcement officer giving us $80 parking ticket and told I need to go on down the road. After explaining to this officer that I'm out of hours, he didn't care. Go on to Boston or wherever you're going. So this is a real problem, and this is why we need parking.
The truck parking crisis is a national problem that deserves national attention. If you care about the economy, road safety, or even just getting your packages delivered on time, this issue affects you. Truckers and communities deserve better. Let's make some noise and push for real change. If you're a trucker, drop your parking horror stories in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until the next time, peace.